So it would come in on the, do caller ID, maybe the trunk groups are in there. There's an area where you can actually put in the trunk groups. Context, maybe Annie Venus. Try the caller ID tab right here.
I'm sorry.
No, okay. So inside the CLI, you can do CLI IH hunt, and inside of there is a mechanism that you can actually put the trunk groups in. So obviously we're not going to be able to route things, well actually, I'm trying to think of a good example. All right, close this one out, and let's go to the inbound carrier endpoint. Do we have, is that wholesale APOP-C now?
Yeah.
So let's go to wholesale APOP-C, and then right-click on that, and go to, I would think call hunt, but I don't understand why.
Cool.
We don't even have the mechanism. So caller ID, I would type in a phone number in here. It may just, and then realm IP address. That's fine. Annie Venus. So normally you end up getting the. Let me show you. Can I show you from the CLI?
Yeah, you can.
Take it back for a second. I will find out. I don't do a whole lot. They've changed the interface for call hunt through the GUI, so it may work fine. I just don't know how to use it anymore. So if I do seal, I just pulled my network connection out. IH. So here are my options. So what I can do is if I were to do CLI IH hunt, what was the name of that endpoint that we used for inbound carrier APOP-C?
That is the WHLS APOP-C, WCAPS, HLS hyphen APOP-C.
And give it a phone number.
Does it have to be case specific when you're
Yes,
performing that?
endpoints are going to
gotcha.
be case specific. So here I can see by just running this, I just put in any phone number because it's trunk group routing. I see where it's going to go, and I can either go to SIP-JA02 or a SIP-JA01. And there's the IP address, the zone that it's in, and the phone number that would be dialed. So if there was any digit manipulations and other, you should see that show up there. It's the reason it's not matching. If I were to do this with a 10-digit phone number, it should append a +1 to the front because it should hit our calling plan, and it did. So now there was a 10-digit number, it hit our calling plan, and we added the +1 going up to the SIP-JA server.
You can stay in the CLI.
Sorry. I just don't know how to do the GUI. If I knew, then it would be okay, but I'm afraid I'm not.
But I mean, I think you're right. So for some things, when you're adding, it just makes sense to be able to take all the commands and copy them.
But if you want to look at an endpoint and see what the values are, then it's very well, you can open up the GUI and kind of go through and browse the endpoints to see where the values are. That might be easier than trying to run around inside of the CLI
Right.
and do VI if you're not real familiar with it.
Right.
Okay. So we ended up creating our SIP P UAS. So now we need to create the SIP P UAC piece. So I'll show you how to do that from the CLI. So what I would do is I would go into my template, and the UAC would be what we call inbound carrier inside of this document. So I'm going to copy these things out. Put this in here. Those are comments, so they shouldn't affect anything. I'm just going to delete them out to be safe. We're going to put the IP address in, which is 10.252.173.100.
122.
122.
122.
Yeah.
All right. And time, since I've got my template in there, I'm just going to copy this. And then first I'm going to check to see if I have endpoint by that IP.
No, you can change the name also. It's mentioned as inbound carrier.
Yeah. What should we call it? That host LA pop C.
CP
Okay.
CP02_UAC.
Inbound carrier.com. We're gonna make it.
CP02_UAC. No, that I think those policies are not there. I guess the policies are now need to be changed.
Oh, good point. You should
Yeah.
actually.
So the policy name and all is not changed.
This is actually supposed to be 100 now. No, it's good. Okay.
Yeah, this whatever is there, right? These policies, to redirect policies, that doesn't exist.
You've changed that to something else. So let's go look at.
Also, FOPC. Should go down. Yeah, that's all. It should be 2 SIP-J0156.
Gotcha.
But this is the C here.
So what is this? This is the Acme SPC?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what we've done is, and this is what we'll update the DDD. These were the original trunk group names that we used just for internal steering purposes. And I called them 2 redirect policy 1, because we have policy 1, 3, and 4 or something like that.
You can send the updated one, right?
But now we've changed these trunk group names, the internal trunk group names that don't map to anything. We're changing them to 2 SIP-JA 5061. So now we know exactly what port and everything else. So we'll update the DDD so that whenever you guys pull it out to do templates or anything else, that it matches correctly now.
Okay.
So that's all I'm making that update on.
Do we need 2833 profile here?
I mean, we don't need it because there's no media really going on, but if there's a chance that you could be doing DTMF interworking in your transcoding calls, then you would need it in. So now we're going to just provision it, and we can just paste it right in. And there you go. So now it's done. Now, we should be able to do CLI edge hunt, CP, 02_UAC 0.